All right, welcome seventh graders. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to week 2 of digital learning. This is our lesson, our first lesson for the week. If you are following in our textbook, we are on lesson 3 of topic 5, and the specific pages are page 225 to 257. Let's start with a little review. Please try this question on your own. Just don't listen to me. Give it a shot. See what you can do. You got to be active in these lessons in order for them to be meaningful for you. So I want you to see if you can remember, what is biodiversity? Is it A, a relationship between two animals? B, how an ecosystem recovers? C, the number of different species in an area? Or D, a type of ecosystem? Give yourself 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you need more time, pause the video. Hopefully you were able to answer correctly. Biodiversity is the number of different species in an area. Let's split up that word, biodiversity. Bio means living, like a biotic factor is something that's living. Diversity, D for diversity, D for differences or variety. So I'm looking at the difference of living things in an ecosystem. All right, so why are we learning about biodiversity? Why is it important? Is it because A, it creates a more stable ecosystem? B, it has economic value? C, it can help humans discover new medicines? Or D, all of the above? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think? I think it's all. Biodiversity is very important because it helps a stable ecosystem. That's helpful if there's a natural disaster or parasite or disease that comes in. It has economic value. It can make us money. It can also help us, treat people and animals with new medicines and new discoveries. And I could list a million more things why biodiversity is super important. So we're going to learn as we go on this week what we need to do to protect it because it is so, so important. But guys, the goal of this lesson, all we're going to talk about today is something called a keystone species. So is that like a literal key made out of stone? Is it like a super cool rock keychain? No, it's not either of those. It's something really different. But first, I want to talk to you about the word keystone. If you look at this picture, I see the word keystone labeled on the middle stone, like direct middle stone of that arch. And a keystone is an actual real thing. It is a stone or a rock. And it's just a really, really, really important rock because it literally holds up all of the other rocks. If you take out that keystone, everything will crumble. So it supports all of the rocks around it, and it's going to support the entire structure. But we're not talking about rocks because we're talking about biology currently. So how do I relate this keystone rock to a keystone species? Well, a keystone species is going to be a species that helps the survival of many other species in an ecosystem. So it's going to be a super important species because without it, the other species in the ecosystem could die. Let me give you an example of a keystone species, and this example is going to be an otter. Why an otter? Is it because they're adorable? Well, yes, they are adorable, but that's not the reason why they are a keystone species. But look at that face. The reason they are considered a keystone species is because they like to munch on something called a sea urchin. So that is not a rock. That is a living organism called an urchin. Sometimes people eat them. I've never eaten them, but think about it. But otters love to munch on those. So why is that important? Well, let's look. All right, otters live in something called a kelp forest. Kelp it's actually algae, but it looks more like a plant, but it is a type of algae. And it grows in these really, really, really long vertical columns, and it like provides oxygen into the water because it's algae, it goes through photosynthesis. There's lots of little fish that like to hide in there, eat there, lay their eggs. And also in this kelp forest, we have our sea urchins, okay? So they live there and they live here also with the otter. The otter will eat the sea urchin. And if the otter is there, everything's really peaceful, everything's in harmony. The picture looks like the picture of the background. You got nice, luscious, big kelp forest. But what if I get rid of the otter? So why would you ever want to get rid of an otter? Well, some people do hunt otters because of their fur. It's nice, really soft, waterproof fur. So they have been overhunted in the past. Sometimes they leave because an area is too polluted. So if we get rid of otters from this ecosystem, well, there is no more otters eating the urchin. So the urchin population is going to increase. Okay, well, why is this a bad thing? Well, first of all, urchins are not cute. And second of all, urchins will actually eat the kelp. So after a while, with no otters and your sea urchin population increasing, you're not going to have this nice green lush kelp. You're going to have something that looks like this. And so what you see here is you see a ton of sea urchins, and it looks like they've just nom all of the kelp forest straight off. And it doesn't look like, there's not many green things. There's probably not oxygen being produced. All the little fish that would live there and lay their eggs there, they no longer have a habitat. So right now I've got really low biodiversity because my kelp forest is gone. And this is all because we got rid of the otter. So that is how an otter is a keystone species. All right, I want you guys to quiz yourself one more time before we finish the lesson. I'm going to give you two animals, and I want you to tell me which is the keystone species of the two. Remember, a keystone species is a really important species that helps other animals survive because of what it does. So let's start with the African elephant. An African elephant will eat plants, and it will push trees down when it's eating. And when it pushes down the trees, other animals will eat the downed trees. And even though they technically got rid of a tree, new shrubs will grow when the trees are gone. Let's compare African elephant to a zebra. A zebra eats grasses. It helps spread seeds, and it is prey for lion. So you've got two animals, and we're looking for an animal where a lot of different species and organisms depend on. So what do you think is, I guess, for lack of a better word, more important to the ecosystem? Do you think it's the African elephant, or do you think it's a zebra? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to say it's the African elephant. Why? Because it is letting other animals eat by pushing down the trees, animals that couldn't necessarily reach those trees. It is letting new plants grow into an area. So a lot of animals are dependent on this African elephant. Not to say that the zebra isn't important as well, but I guess to put it simply, the elephant is more important. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. If you need to know what you should be working on, you got this vocabulary packet if you picked up your orange backpacks. If you don't, it's on Schoology. I'd really like you to work on page 1 this week. If for some reason you don't have the orange packet and you have Schoology, but you don't necessarily have a printer, this is more than fine to write on a separate sheet of paper or make flashcards. It's really important that you guys contact me so I know you're learning and I can say that you've been, basically attending science class. If I don't hear from you, if I don't see your work, I can't say that you're in class. So that is really important. All right, guys, take it easy, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon.